Hi everyone, welcome to the next video from this Agotapop December Tinies on Shelves page. We have got these lovely looking sweets, lolly, chocolate, all sorts going on this page. I'm just going to, there we go. Now, where should we start? Well, when I did my sort of flip through, as I called it, although it wasn't, I felt that this looked like it was a chocolate. This is obviously a wrap sweet and this a lolly. So we're going to start with the chocolate. Now chocolate colours are sometimes a little bit tricky. It's not always easy to know what colour to do it. But what I thought I would do was do the base, the main piece in a lighter, like a milk chocolate, and then these lines in a dark. I'm going to, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So still deciding, as you can tell. So for the light chocolate, I'm going to try the natural brown and see. Sorry, this is the nutshell. I picked the wrong one. I'm just looking, is that going to work? Actually, no. I want the natural brown. Nutshell's a bit too grey. Here we go. Natural brown. So I'm going to use that. Now what we want to do is put on quite a thick coating, because if you think about chocolate, it's not at all see-through. In fact, it's quite shiny sometimes, so we need to have no paper showing through here. So you want to layer it up until it looks like that, so it's quite thick. And then the same on here as well. So we're just going to repeat that through each of these little sections. Now the icing part on here, you could choose to do in any number of ways. You could choose to do it in dark chocolate, which is what I did say, but you could do it in a colour. You know, it could be a strawberry or a white chocolate or just a white icing. You know, there are lots of ways to do it, and that's what I dithered when I was talking about it, because I wasn't 100% convinced that going dark was the way to go, because we have the opportunity to make it look slightly rounded or slightly elevated from the chocolate itself. You know, I think it's raised from the way it's drawn. So I think in order to do that, we sort of need it to be a colour which we can do a darker edge and a lighter centre, which is going to be quite tricky on such a small thing. But if we are going to do that, then we can't do it too dark, because trying to make it look darker in places is not going to be easy. So I'm just going to make sure that this is all fully done, and then have a look at my colours. Now we do have the oak colour, which is darker but not as dark, and I think I'm going to do that. So this is our oak, and I'm going to straighten up my page, put down a little bit and just look at it right. So what I want to do is to make it darker on each edge if I can. So darker here and here. Problem is, because it's so narrow, we can't really see a huge difference between the edge and the centre, but what we can do is use a white pen to put a bit of shine in places, and that will help to give that illusion. So we'll just go through these all first. Now I'm going to put a bit of shadow down using the liquorice after I've sharpened it. It needs to be very sharp. My sharpener needs a new blade in, I think. It's not quite behaving. So I want to put a bit of this either side of here. So on top of and by the side of the black line. just going to brush that off so I can see it. Oh, there's my brush. I hadn't put it away. What I'm now going to do with this dark colour is make this a little bit darker at the bottom. Anyway, just here. I just feel that it needs a bit on the edges really to make our chocolate look a little bit more three-dimensional. Like that, all the way around, that's it. But those stripes, I'm going to get my white, just put a bit of a line. I didn't want it too long or too dark, just to make them look a little bit shiny. Hopefully that's what I'll look at it again in a minute and decide. But we'll move on to our lolly. Now this has got a star on it, as there are stars here. I'm going to do these stars in gold pen, so I might colour around it, I might colour over it, it doesn't really matter, because it's going to disappear under pen in a bit. For our stick, now we can do it two ways. We can do it as a wooden stick, or we can do it as a white stick, and I think I'll show you how to do it as a white stick. And what we want to do is we want to use a little bit of grey to give some shape to our stick so it doesn't look completely flat. So I'm going to put a little bit of shadowing on it, and I think I'm going to use the Winter Lake. Now this is quite a dark grey, so we do need to be a little bit careful that we don't overuse it, because we might find that it just ends up looking very dark. But what I want to do is to put a little bit along the edge here and then just fade it in a tad like that, and do that all the way along. And not only does that hopefully add some shape to the stick, but it also sets it apart a little bit more from the white paper. But of course you could do a coloured stick, anything you like really. I am tempted to put a bit of colour on it, to be honest, so I'm just going to bring that in a tad more like that. It just helps it look a bit more rounded. But I think what I'm actually tempted to do is put a stripe on our stick. But I have to do it curved to honour the curve that I've just tried to put in. Might be a bit tricky. Right, I'm going to do this lolly. Now I'm thinking it's Christmas, so it's always very tempting to do reds and greens, but we want a few different colours really. So I think I'm going to look at my pinks and purples to see whether we have something that looks edible, if that makes sense. Yes, the jazzberry, that looks very nice. So I'm going to try and find that. I'm looking, trying to find it. Oh, I think it's over here. There it is, jazzberry. Oh. And I'm going to do the jazzberry for the wider section of the lolly, and I'm going to just start by putting a little layer in like this, just gently through. And then we'll think about where to make it darker and not. I want it to look like a transparent lolly, you know, the sort that just looks like a boiled sweet for this this bit. This swirl I've got a different plan for, but I'm just trying to think that through while I'm colouring this bit. I talk you through my thoughts. I'm thinking maybe the swirl could be white, but do I need to put some shadow in there to make it look better? So what I'm going to do with this is now I need to darken it up a lot. So I'm going to do this. So I'm marking out the edge, and I'm going to just sort of fade it a bit towards the centre so that we've got a bit of a lighter bit in the middle, not too much. Don't worry if you go over that. I'm going to do those little circles in a silver pen and the stars in a gold, so it's all going to be coloured over anyway. So you see, I'm trying to keep a sort of line going through the centre where there's less pencil. I'm just going to go all the way around here to make it look more like it's a bit shiny. Said I want it to look like it's a sort of boiled sweet type thing. I may have to block it all in and then use a different colour. I'm got to wait and see how it looks when I get round. Like that. Sun shining. It's a bit of winter sun. People do, well, autumn really still. I don't know when winter officially begins actually. I don't know if it says on my calendar. Whether it's the shortest day, I don't know, which is in December, isn't it? I'm just going to go back through and just keep working and fiddling until I'm happy with how it looks really. I basically do want it to look like this bit in the centre is higher than these edges. And so these edges need to be very intense and dark, and the centre a bit lighter. Yeah, while we were at the hospital this morning, my husband was planning out his Christmas cards and design, which was good. He said he's going to make some for some people. He was initially only going to make 2 or 3, but I think he's found quite a few pre-made cards. I don't know whether he's bought them as cards or whether sometimes he cuts up pieces of paper to make cards because it's cheaper. So I'm not sure which these are, but he's found loads, so he's going to make some. I actually made one the other day for him, but it was quite, I was happened to watch like an Instagram reel, and it just looked so simple. I thought I'd have a go, and I'm not that good. It's just a Christmas tree. The star went wrong, so I had to sort of, I don't know, adapt. So you just draw a triangle and then draw these loopy bits and stuff. I should have noted who it was that did it, because it was I copied somebody else. Now we have this sort of white swirl. I think we can make it slightly off-white, and I'm thinking the oyster could be a good colour because it is a pink. But you can see how it's almost white, and I think I'm just going to colour this bit in flat. I don't necessarily want it to look raised like the other bit. There we go. There's my lolly. I might go a little bit darker. There's this rose pink. I might put this over it because I don't think that really shows. And I am thinking I might just do it on the edges and see how it looks. I don't know if I'll make a big show up that much. Because I'm colouring on white, which is quite hard, but there we go. There's that one. Now the boiled sweet. We could go, I'm looking at my purples. I've got a sort of Parma Violet-y type colour. Maybe that'll work as a sort of blackcurranty type thing going vibe. So I'm going to go with the Aztec purple. There it is, for one shade. So here it is. And now we've got this, it needs to be spherical. So as we colour in each coloured section, we need to make sure we emphasise that spherical shape. So let's see how we go. So on this first section here, we need to make this end really intense like that, and then just sort of fade it right towards the centre really. If you find this doesn't work and you can't get it to work and look right, you can always go around the edge later at the end with a dark grey and just sort of artificially create that look. But I do find it easier to do it with the colour myself. I have also before done one where I did the grey work first to create the shadows and then went over it in colour. It was a really interesting experiment, but the fact that I've never done it since tells you something about my thoughts on it. Alright. Trying to remember where the centre is quite hard. It's about here because of the sort of shape of the thing. There we are. So that's our first, which was that the Aztec? Yeah, so that's more of a sort of Palmer violet. And then I'm going to use the actual violet. If I can find it. Oh, it's here right next to it. To look more like maybe a black curranty type shade. Now we've got these the wrapper. Now in two minds, we could make the wrapper look like it's a see-through wrapper because we are looking at the sweet, you know, so we're looking through the wrapper, but that's quite difficult, isn't it? So we could just colour the wrapper as if maybe this is the wrapper, not the actual product inside, which is a little bit easier. So I'm just contemplating that as I colour. The easy option is often the most appealing, which isn't surprising. I think we will do it. If we have another sweet to do later, we don't. Oh well. So I'm thinking both of these could be in this dark colour. Now I'm going to do them lightly though, to start with. Then block this bit in a fair bit. Like that. And then maybe a bit more here. I just want to neaten it up, it looks a bit messy. So same on this side, and then I'll decide if I'm happy with it. I think what we can do is we can add some white to look like it's shiny, and it might look more wrapper-like, if that makes sense. There we go, looking so thirsty. I made a drink, I've just got to get it in a bit. So we'll add our white now, our white pen, and then we'll get our metallics involved. So we haven't done any on here. I'm going to do a few bits here and there. Like that. And then this one. Doesn't want to write. Come on, pen. But I'm thinking we could put a few bits on here to make it look like it's sort of shiny sort of paper type thing. There we go. Now gold and silver. Don't have to do gold, and I'm wondering whether I want to do gold or whether, you know, I've got pinks and purples and things I could use instead. Maybe I'll do silver stars. So here's my silver. And maybe I'll do the dots in a different colour. I'll have a look at what I've got in a minute. I always think silver is the best metal colour in the sense of the one that's most successful and looks best, even in a pencil as well as a pen. Silver always seems to look really silvery compared to some of the other colours which look in pencil very muted and even in pen a little bit muted. Oh, that reminds me, I told my husband I'd give him, he could use one of my pens. I'm going to use this purpley colour. I think it's a purpley pink. Look at that. So I think it will match everything really. He was going to be drawing, he's sketching some Christmas trees and then drawing some tinsel and some baubles on them, and he wanted my red pen for his baubles. He could use a gold for his tinsel. I've got a metallic and a normal, so I'll see what he wants. There we go. Ooh, I kept missing putting the lid on, so I've got purple paint. Metallic purple all over my hand, but never mind. There we go. You can make your shine on your sweet a little bit more if you want. I think because there was so much on the wrapper, I thought I didn't really want so much on the main body of this candy. So that's up to you, but there are those three. Yes, so thank you for watching today. I hope that you have a really super day and happy colouring.